Hello and welcome back to another video, and in today's video the bullocks are gone and the heifers are gone, and that's because they are out in the field. So the only cows that are left is this cow and calf, the cow and calf in the pen there, and those two cows there. Now you may have remembered in my last sort of video where we let the cows out, the cows that were in this pen out, I mentioned that I didn't know what the story was with the two cows and the two calves, so them two there. But I knew for a fact that these two girls here were going to be sold in the mart at some point before the mart closes for the summer. So maybe the last sale or before the last sale in the mart, those two ladies there will be sold. But we are in the middle of May, so it is about time that the cattle are being let out. So we have the cows out and the heifers and the bullocks out. And obviously when you think about a month ago, you wouldn't even imagine letting cattle out because they'd have the place bogged up. But now thankfully the weather has dried up quite a lot. Still wet. We're still getting wet weather here. Trying to make a video here. We're still getting wet weather now and then, but for the majority of it, it is dry, and the fields have dried a lot. So before I get into the video and show you where the heifers and the bullocks are and how we fenced them and all that, I now know what's going to happen with the two cows and the calves. So I'm going to show you where they're going when we let them out, what field they're going to go into when we let them out. So I'll do that now, and then I'll go and show you the heifers and the bullocks. So the two cows and the two calves are going down that little field there, which we call the garden. That blue barrel there is their water, so that'll have to be filled with water manually when they go out. But they'll be let out there. We'll probably only give them half of it. We'll put an electric tape across half of the field and only give them half of it. And when it comes to the calves, what we do is their front two legs, we do tie a rope on it, basically like handcuffs, but it's not like we're arresting them or anything. It's just to slow down their movement, so when they do go out onto grass for the first time ever, they might go a bit wild and daft and forget when to stop and how to stop, and they'll just run through everything. And obviously that, beyond those bushes there, is the main road, very busy road. So if any cow, calf, whatever got out onto that, it could be quite ugly on both sides of the parties. So yeah, we do try and always get the most safest way to let calves out, and we'll probably let them out into this runway first, and they'll have access to that, so they can sort of run up and run down this little runway here, sort of to get their giddiness out, and then we'll let them out. But their front two legs we do tie with ropes, and that limits their movement, so they're not able to run as much. So then they'll be more curtailed then, and they won't be running down the field like bullets and then running straight through fences and everything, forgetting how to stop and when to stop, and not seeing what's in front of them because they'll be pure giddy and daft. So yeah, we do tie little ropes on their front legs. It's not animal cruelty or any of that. It's better to keep them in the field, and we'd only have them ropes on their legs for a day or two until they settle down. But it's better than letting them out onto a busy road and things getting a bit ugly. So yeah, that's why we do that. We always get them introduced to an electric tape as well. So we'd probably put like an electric tape up along there, so that when they see it, it'll look foreign to them. They'll want to know what it is, so they'll start sniffing it. They'll get closer to it. Eventually they'll touch it. They'll realise it gets a shock, and they'll jump away from it. They might touch it 2 or 3 times after that, and then probably never touch it again. And then we let them out into the field. But just a lot of these procedures is just to make sure that, especially calves that have never been let out and they're going to be let out for the first time, we do just follow these procedures to make sure that they stay in the field and they stay safe, and no one or no animal gets hurt. So that's why we do all them procedures. So, talking about the bullocks now, because they were the first ones we let out. We let them out into this pen here first, and this runway. We let them out into this little pen here first, that we closed that gate. That gate operates as two things. It shuts off the field, but it also latches on this pillar here to shut them into there or out of there or whatever you want. But yes, we curtailed them into this small pen. We starved them. We didn't feed them anything. So the night before, we gave them no silage, and then the following morning we let them out into this pen for an hour or two, and then we let them out into this little runway here. Now, there was way more grass growing. You can see where there's short bits of grass. They were longer, so they were nibbling at that bits of grass when they were let out. So they weren't starving. But again, it's not animal cruelty or anything for any people watching this with no farming background. Because we live on such a busy and lethal road, when it comes to letting cows, heifers, bullocks, whatever out, we don't give them silage the night before, and then the following morning we'll let them out into this little section here for an hour or two, and then we'll let them out into the field. And then once they go out into the field, they'll probably be, usually, they'll be a bit hungry, that they'll just put their heads down and start eating grass, and then they won't be running wild and loose and giving us farmers a nervous breakdown, fearing that they might get out onto the road. So again, that's just another precaution and procedure that we take when letting cattle out after them being housed in the shed for, 5, 6, 7 months. So when they're curtailed in a small slatted house shed for that much time, and then they're let out into the open space, they're curtailed into a field, but it's way more room than what they were used to when they were in the shed. So just a lot of procedures that we do have to follow to make animals and road users safe. So they were out here then for a while, and then we ran them up here into that pen where the cow and calf is. We backed up our cattle trailer to this here. Obviously this door would have been closed, those tractors would have been gone, and these open outwards here. So we back in our cattle trailer as far back as we can. We put down the door so that the corner of the back door is hitting this girder here, and the other one would be near enough this gate here when it's opened. And then obviously you have your gates then in the trailer as well. So then we just hunt them up the crush and then into the trailer, and whatever fits. It's could be 2 or 3 loads. But when it came to the bullocks, it was only 2 loads because there was only 6 of them. So yeah, there was only 6 of them, so it was 2 loads. We put 3 or 4 bullocks into the trailer over, and then we came back for the last few that was left. Now the heifers, the same situation as the bullocks and the cows, as in the night before, the evening before, we gave them no silage. The following morning we let them out into this little pen here for an hour or two. After that they were let out into this runway, and then they were left there for the day, and then during the evening there's a gate just down there, and that's the field that they are in. So we just opened that gate and let them down. The old man was sort of hunting them out. I was down the field standing just behind the electric tape, so that if they did get a bit giddy and run wild, they would, I was there to sort of slow them down and stop them. But that's what I was doing, that's what the old man was doing. But we can go down the field as well, but similar situation when we're letting any cows out. One, don't feed them anything in the evening. 2, the following morning we let them out into this pen and runway for a couple of hours. And 3, we let them out into the field for the summer. So we'll head down and we'll have a look at the heifers. So here they are, and I also forgot, our teaser bull is out with them. We let the heifers out first. We had the heifers out in the pen that I showed you, and we let them out first, let them calm down for an hour, and then we let the teaser bull out. And another thing about the teaser bull, which is the main thing we got him, we have a chin ball on him, if you let us show us. But that little strap that's on him is a little chin ball, so that when he detects a heifer in calf, when he mounts them, the chin ball will mark them up at their back, up near this sort of section. If it's down there, it's no good. If he's mounted them and they're in heat, the mark will be up on the top of their backs, up further. So a couple of them do have marks on them. There's one of them that is a bullin. If I can find the marked, this one here that he's standing beside, you can probably just about see there's a mark just on the top. Well, that heifer is marked by a lot. But yeah, that's the main reason we got our teaser bull, to let him out with the heifers into the fields. He can detect when they're coming into heat way before when we could see them. And so every evening and every morning we'll come down and check them. We'll look for the little marks on their back, and if there's marks on their back, you know they're in heat. Now they're heading to the trough now, even though I'm only after giving them meal. So that's another thing I'll talk about now in a minute. But it's fenced off halfway. Yeah, there's an electric tape just there. You might be able to just see that little trailer down there. There's a tape just above that going halfway, and there's an electric tape going down there. And as you can see, this is the field that we only shook three bags of bag manure on, and look at the amount of grass that's in it. Plenty of grass. They'd want to start eating this fast, because over the far side will turn into meadow if they don't hurry up. But yeah, teaser bull is out with them. I have a video about the teaser bull as well when we got him. So the plan was to keep the heifers in this field, because that's the farm just there. I've mentioned this in many a video, but you know, they can just run them when they're in heat, like one of them cows or heifers are marked. We can just run them up there and up into the shed and bull them, AI them. Now we're giving them male for that very specific reason, that they'll follow the bucket, they'll get used to the male. So we started giving the male here, but eventually we want to move the trough into that little pen that I showed you earlier in the video, that we let all the cattle into to calm them down before we let them out. We'll put them out into that pen there. So we're going to put the trough in there, so that every morning when they see us coming with a bucket of meal, they'll follow us. They know that they're getting meal now. So although yesterday evening when we did let them out, we had awful bother getting their attention, because they were over the far side there. We were shaking the bucket, we were pouring small bits of meal into the trough to make a noise, and it took a minute for them to sort of come over to us, but eventually they did. But now this morning, after giving them their meal, they seen me and they just followed me the whole way to the trough. So they're used to getting the meal now. But yeah, I was standing just the far side of the electric tape there when we let the heifers out. They weren't too wild, thankfully, because we did sort of starve them. We didn't really give them any silage the night before, and then obviously the next morning we put them out in what we called the civilized pen, which is what I showed you, and then we let them out here. Look at the amount of grass that's in it. Huh. Ridiculous. And that's only 3 bags of bag manure. And when I said that well, I don't know what video it was, but when I said to people we've only spread 3 bags of bag manure on a 6 to 7 acre field, they thought we were daft. They thought we were absolutely daft for doing that. But the amount of grass that's in it now, but this field would have gotten a bit of slurry as well. Not all of it. There was a time when the slurry was sort of coming up above the slats. We wanted to relieve that pressure, so we put a couple of loads out, but we only done probably a quarter of the field with slurry. But the bag manure did help quite a lot. There's plenty of grass here. Plenty of grass. Anyways, that's the heifer situation. They're out. They've been out nearly a day now. Come this evening, as I'm recording this video, they'll be out a day. So they're well calmed down. They're well used to their new life now, out eating the sweet juicy grass, and that's them out then until they have to be brought back in for around October, November time. So again, or not again, but once they've eaten this down and we let them into the other half and eat that down, and all this is eaten, we're going letting them out into that other field down below there, which is what we call the shroy, which is a field part of our acre scheme. This field is part of the acre scheme, but the shroy is. So obviously we have a lot of rules and regulations we have to follow when it comes to this field, but you know, we're going to let them, once they have this field eaten, grass bare down to the ground, we'll be letting them out into that field there for a while, and then we'll probably move them to another field after that. But you know, they'll be in this field for quite a while because there's a lot of grass in this field, and once they get into the other half there'll be even more grass. But yeah, teaser bull working well. He's when we let him out with the heifers yesterday evening, instantly he started sniffing one of these heifers, probably the one he's beside, is it? I can't remember which one it is. You probably are just able to see the marks, the pink mark. Here's another one with the pink mark on her neck. Can't really see it. Just about, there's a pink mark on them. But one of these are a bull, and I think it's this one. Yeah, there's a lot of pink marks on her. Two on one, this one. This is the one that was bulling. So when we let the teaser bull out with the heifers first, instantly came up to this heifer, started sniffing her, and then up he went, started mounting her, but she wasn't standing still at the time. I don't know if she's still standing still now, but she doesn't seem to be too eager about her now. But you know, he's working, the teaser bull is working. I think it was a very good investment, because otherwise we'd just be keep missing them and missing them and missing them. But I also mentioned a story with the video where we let the cows out, so if you want to go back to do with the teaser bull, you can go back and watch that. There's a story about a heifer, that white heifer there, and that teaser bull, but I won't say it in this video because it'll be quite lengthy. But that's the heifer situation. I think it's time to go over and have a quick gawk at the bullocks and see how they're getting on and what their situation is. So, you know, and they also have plenty of shelter there with sort of bushes and hedges, and they have plenty of feed, plenty of grass. But you know, it's just a lovely sight to see cattle finally out on the field. Like, when you pan the camera around, it's just a beautiful sight, that. Absolutely beautiful. Lovely. Lovely sight. And the teaser bull happy out as well. Yeah, anyways, we'll go over to the bullocks now. And here they are, the bullocks, the bullockines. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And they're all out on grass, happy out. These were the first ones that were let out. They were let out before the heifers, so you know the situation with them and how we let them out back on the farmyard. Again, they're also getting mailed, because for whatever reason, if we had to bring them back home or move them or whatever, they should follow the bucket. So similar to the heifers where we're feeding them out in the field, we're going moving the trough with the bullocks as well. The same as with the heifers, we're feeding them male outside in the field, but when it comes to the heifers, we'll be moving the trough as well. And for this now, we'll be moving it into this pen here, so for whatever reason we can bring them home or to another field safe and easily, because we have a gate there to curtail them in, and we have a gate there to curtail them into this pen. So eventually we'll move that trough into that pen, and then we'll start feeding them male in there, so they're getting used to being, or they'll get used to coming into the pen for whatever reason, if we had to move them or whatever. But that's basically it. Same situation as with the bullocks as well with the heifers, as in we're only giving them half the field. So just halfway up the field there's an electric tape. So they'll be here, eat this down for however length it takes, and then we let them into the far side. And I assume that once they have this eaten and they go into the other half, that they'll spend the majority of their time in the other half over there. So they probably won't bother coming down this side once they are moved up there. But electric tape here as well. The tape starts there, and it goes all the way up along the wood line there and halfway down the field there. And they also have a drinker just this side of the electric tape as well. So they have plenty of grass and plenty of water. And they're happy out as well because they're out on grass in the sunshine. These guys were also a little bit giddy as well. But as I mentioned, the evening before, we didn't give them any silage, and then we put them out into the pen to sort of civilize them a small bit and get all their giddiness away from them, and then we let them out into the field here. But again, we had a couple of men stand on the far side of the electric tape there, that in case if they didn't stop or forgot how to stop, there'd be a man there to sort of slow them down, waving a stick and shouting at them and all that. Same with the heifers as well. But yeah, bullocks happy out. Now we're hoping that we can keep these bullocks here in this field for the duration that they'll be let out. So they'll hopefully be left in this field until they have to be brought back into the slatted house around October, November time. Or maybe even sooner if the weather gets bad. But that is the plan for them. Obviously with the cows that are let out, the 4 cows that are let out, they'd be rotating around different fields. Once they eat the grass that in the field that they're in, they'll be moving to another field. And the same with the heifers. Once they finish eating the grass that's in the field that they're in now, they'll be moving to another field. And once they're all abulled, and we're certain that they're all abulled, they'll be staying in that field until they are. Bullocks thought they're staying here. Well, it's the plan anyways, but obviously plans can change. But that's it, they're staying here for the duration. If anything changes, it changes, nothing we can do. But that's basically it really. Fence is up, and obviously the field that we have cut, the tree that we cut down here, we weren't, basically very soon afterwards we let the bullocks out, so I moved the bushes, and we just couldn't get time to bring home the timber, so we just put the electric tape up this side of the timber so they cannot go in and trample the timber into the ground or whatever. But for whatever reason, if they did get past this electric tape, the barbed wire that we put up there and straightened should slow them down, and hopefully should stop them as well. But if not, slow them down by quite a lot. When it comes to the male, these bucks here, the bullocks, get 3/4 full of a bucket into their double trough there, while the heifers get half a bucket. And obviously with the heifers, it's just to get them used to the male, so that if when it gets bulling, we'll easily be able to bring them in with a buck and a male. With these lads, it's just to get them used to getting the male, so eventually that we can put them into the pen there and move them if we ever need to move them. But hopefully they'll be in this field for the duration of the time that they are let out. So yeah, anyways, I think that's all to say. The bullocks are out, the cows, the 4 cows are out, the heifers are out with the teaser bull. The 2 dry cows need to be sold, and the 2 cows and calves are eventually going to be let out at some point into the garden. But anyways, that is going to be the end of today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my merch. The link to that will be down in the description. And I'll see you in my next video very soon. Take care.